Okay, what's up everybody? It's Ruben here, and today I want to talk about Severance. So, I know there's definitely some time until the next season comes up, but I've still been really bothered about how the last season ended. By the way, obviously, spoilers ahead. I mean, it's hard to talk about the show without giving any spoilers, to be honest. But yeah, let's talk about it, because I have been thinking about it from a writer's perspective, and honestly, I am completely flummoxed, I guess, or there's no reason to use that kind of word. Like, how is it supposed to turn out is my main thing. And I've seen some theories, and when I say that, I'm saying I saw one video that broke down 10. I think it broke down 10 different theories that more people are talking about, or that most people are talking about, I guess. And I honestly have no idea where the show is gonna go, because seriously, that whole thing at the end of the second season where he picks what's her name, Helena, over his wife, is kind of crazy. And when it comes down to the theories, the only one that I've really heard that made a lot of sense to me, at least, is the theory that Helena is actually, outie Helena or whatever, right? And that she is purposely messing up what happened. Like, she showed up down the hall to make sure that Mark ends up with her instead over Gemma. And that could be possible. Like, the thing that really intrigued me about that theory was, one, obviously it's very possible, and two, it does seem like a cruel thing to do, which aligns really well with that kind of character. Either way though, obviously that outie character of Helena is in love with Mark. So that is the main thing that gets to me about the whole innie outie situation, is how are you supposed to reconcile that? Obviously, even though they are the same body, they are not the same person. That is something that the show keeps reiterating and kind of hammering home over and over again. It's very clear. There's a number of relationships that keep going on in this direction, where it's like, hey, the innies like each other, but when they come to the outies, it's a whole different kind of relationship at play. And it's fine if they don't know about what's going on, and if those two worlds are kind of just divided among each other. Like, this is just the innies life and this is just the outies life. But of course, that just isn't a possibility anymore. And what I really do think is going to happen at one point or another is that one or the other has to be sacrificed. Like, I really don't see it going in any other direction. I want there to be kind of a more happy resolution, but I just don't see how. Like, it does seem like the innie is going to be sacrificed. I do think that at one point, because there are these other activist groups that we get kind of like a hint at, like they're definitely there, but they're not really established into the story that strongly. But they're there. And I really do think that maybe if anyone has answers to these things, it's probably them. And I'm going to bet that they are specifically upset about that dynamic. And they may want to find some way to reconcile that, but I don't know. It doesn't seem possible unless, and it's the only way that seems logical, is obviously you make copies of these people, like physical copies, so that there is an innie, and then you extract that innie to another person, and then that outie is still within that other person. Whatever. I really hope though, I'm not gonna lie, even though that might be something that they could do or like figure out a way to do, I'm kind of hoping they don't go that route. Just because that seems like such a cop-out. I'm like, well that fixes everything, doesn't it? You know what I mean? It is almost too perfect of a solution, and I don't think that's gonna happen. But really, when it comes down to it, I am like honestly distressed. I don't know what's gonna happen. Like another aspect that I think is getting missed, at least from that video that I saw, or just like generally how people talk about it, I feel like no one's talking about Milchek's character except when they're praising him, because honestly, and he deserves it. Wow, what a great actor. He did such a great job with the character. But it does seem that Milchek is turning the tide a little bit in like how he thinks of this whole aspect. I know that's kind of hard to see, especially in the very last episode. I mean, this guy was like really aggressive and was obviously not on their side at all. He's definitely still like an enemy in a lot of ways. Like he's definitely with Lumen's side. But so what? You know, it's already established in the story that just because you're on Lumen's side does not mean that you have to be on their side forever. Obviously, Miss Cobell is a great example. But really, we don't have to just generalize from that. Milchek has been getting some pretty hard criticism of how he's dealing with the team. And I know some of it is kind of, I mean, he did kind of mess up, so it's kind of, it makes sense. But some of it is just obviously nitpicky, you know? And there is that scene that I think was really impactful, but really kind of showing how much it was getting to him, was the whole grow scene, right? And I like the wording that they're using, grow. Because to me as a writer, that's a big deal, right? Characters just tend to grow. When we're talking about growth though, it doesn't always have a positive connotation, right? Some people, I say growing isn't the right word. Maybe it's change, right? Characters have to change. But Milchek specifically is interested in that word grow. And I think that matters a lot. Like to me, it really did indicate that, okay, he's willing to let go of Lumen and maybe fight on their side, on the indie side, and like, you know, actually change things for the better. Because really think about that change. That's pretty dramatic, and that's kind of what you want from these characters. I mean, what's more dramatic than like the Godfather, what's his name? Whatever that guy's name from fucking Godfather is, right? He's like, that's my family, that's not me. And then he becomes the fucking Godfather. Or, you know, Oscar Schindler from Schindler's List, who's like, you know, he doesn't care about people and he's just like all about the money. And then he's literally crying about how many people he could have saved if he just sold anything that he had just to save another life, right? Like that's what he should have done and what he regrets. Like that kind of dramatic change is definitely something that's just kind of ingrained in stories, right? And I feel like Milchek is on that path. So I think he'll be pivotal to what we see happen, like the bigger changes that come throughout the story. And yet the same problem really gets to me is I don't know how they're going to reconcile these relationships, because they don't seem like you can. And if they're not able to be fixed, then to me, the ultimate outcome is that one of them is going to have to be sacrificed. And that really bothers me. I'm hoping that they come out with something more clever. Like, man, I'm not the biggest like sci-fi person, so I've never really, like, all these people who do amazing stuff, no matter who they are always influenced by something else and take it to a different direction. I feel like I don't know enough about the genre to like find that inspiration and be like, oh, let's do this, but take it in a different direction. And I feel like they're definitely very knowledgeable about this stuff. And that they will find something. But so far, whenever I've been thinking about this, I just can't figure it out. Especially with the fact that Helena is, I mean, like, what was it called? Like an Egan or whatever, right? Well, that ruins everything. That's gotta ruin everything. Like, Mark cannot think logically that the relationship's gonna work out. Like, yeah, you know, maybe it's like an act of love, so who cares? It's irrational just by its nature or whatever. But it seems like a little much. It seems so outlandish to think that it's going to work out. And one thing I really want to touch on too is I still don't understand why they picked Gemma. Like, they're definitely, like, she's obviously a very core aspect of the story and everything, but why? I don't understand it. I really do not understand that aspect at all. I've been trying to think about like an actual answer, and I just do not get it. Like they really fabricated this whole thing to go on and on just for what exactly? Like, what is their big deal? I don't know. And I'm worried more than anything that they don't really have an answer to any of these questions, because it's complicated. It is genuinely very complicated. I honestly really loved what they were doing in the second season, but I do really think that they're getting to that point where if they don't provide answers, it's just gonna get annoying. I'm not gonna lie, I really hope that the third season is, if not the last season, the second to last season. If this goes for like 5 seasons, I'm gonna be kind of annoyed. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it's getting to a point where I'm like, okay, I have a lot of questions, but like, and I'm waiting for answers, but I hope I'm not disappointed. You know, I really like the whole thing that the numbers were, you know, Gemma or whatever, like, you know, that's what they were like building together, and I thought that was really interesting. But then obviously that comes up with like, well, why her, you know? And then also, why them specifically? Why are they good at picking out numbers? Like, is this something that everybody could do, or how does that work really? And then besides the whole like F you to Lumen, like, I don't really understand why Cobell cares that much about what's going on. Like, is she what? I heard one theory that she's related to Mark, and I got upset. I'm not gonna lie. I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? Like, that is too much for me. Like, I don't get it, you know? The thing is, the fact that I don't get it, and that it's kind of like up in the air, a lot of these things, is what makes this show kind of exciting. But what do you think is gonna happen? And when I say that, I mean just from like a story perspective. Like if you were writing this, basically, what would you even do? Not something crazy and outlandish just for the sake of it, you know, but something that really makes sense, something that's like fulfilling for the audience and just for the characters themselves, feels like it organically builds to that moment. To me personally, I still think that the whole sacrifice thing is just going to happen. And plus, I feel like it kind of fits the mood, like this kind of very tragic, like, man, that's fucked up kind of vibe that I get from the story sometimes here and there. So that might have to be it. But other than that, I thought about it for so long, and I just can't figure it out. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Well, that's all I have to say for today. Have a good one.